Right then, this is a quick walk around video, and this is a lovely Honda estate. This is the 1.6 SR Tourer, Civic of course, finished in silver with just 52,000 miles on the clock. The car's in really lovely condition for its age mileage. Starting with the front of the car, lights and lenses are clear and intact without any cracks or condensation. Sort of slightly shaky hand, sorry about that. Bottom of the car, really clean and tidy. Very few of microscopic stone chips. Near side of the vehicle, really lovely and smooth in the panel work. Sorry, I'm not doing my videos in my normal place, so it may be a little bit noisy. Near side front alloy, generally good. A little bit of flaking and pickling on the outside edge there, which is common on them at this age, but this one's actually much better than most. Same with the near side rear alloy. You can see pickling on the bottom spokes there. You can easily get it done, but it's certainly in keeping with the age and mileage. My favourite angle of these estates, I think it's one of the few cars that genuinely looks better as an estate than it does as a hatch, but there we are. Come around the back, all generally clean and tidy. Around to the off side of the car, driver's side, lovely and smooth in the panels. Offside rear alloy, again, same affliction on a couple of the spokes. Literally sort of 5-minute job to do it, in all honesty. And then the final alloy, probably the best of the bunch, but it really is a very smart looking car. Coming to the back of the car now, absolutely cavernous boots. They are enormous, beautifully finished. What's nice about this one is the fact that someone has invested in the space saver wheel there, which is a cost option on the car. Coming to the back of the car now, and this is where Civics normally let themselves down, as with all family cars, because it's where the kids sit, and yet this one has got away virtually scot-free. It's in lovely condition back here. Coming to the front and the front passenger side, again very clean. Driver's seat, passenger seat rather, hardly looks like it's really been sat on at all. It's coming on the driver's door, again very clean and tidy. Footwell area is really nice. The driver's seat, the one that should show most of the work, shows very little indeed. So inside the car now, engine's running through this section as is always the case, so the dash can be seen illuminated. Dashboard looks pretty much as though it's come straight out of the factory. It's in beautiful condition. Sat nav working perfectly there. Pop the car into reverse. That lovely clear gridded parking camera. My slightly shaky hand, I think I need to eat. Very tidy in here. And then just quickly go up here for you, just to show you. 52,693 miles, and there are no warning lights on the dashboard at all. And that's the view you get as a driver. It's absolutely stunning, it really is. Finally, just to show you, owner's manual pack and lock and wheel nut key, all here and present with the car. Right then, this is a road test video, and this is for a Honda Civic 1.6 SR Tourer. The car is registered LD14NPZ, and the mileage showing is just 52,685. The reason we do these videos, and especially actually the road test section I'm doing now, is because like so many people, we've been to see cars which look perfectly good in photographs and descriptions, only to get there and find out that it's an obvious issue that shows up while driving the car. So hence that's why we do it. It can be incredibly frustrating, and it's the very car advertised you're seeing being tested here right now. We also do it on these very quiet country roads, very close to our premises, and this actually forms part of the road test route we take our customers on. The reason for that is obvious. It's hopefully so it'll be representative of what you'd feel yourself should you be offered a test drive in the car. So coming to the car, it's been very well looked after throughout its life, and it's immediately obvious. It is as tight as a drum to drive. Going through the things I always go through though, starting with the engine, which starts absolutely instantly and settles to a smooth, even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car. The 1.6 DTEC engine is a fabulous diesel engine. It's lovely in operation, smooth, quiet, incredibly economical. You can get very, very, very high economy figures. I've got a 1.6 CRV diesel, which uses exactly the same engine as this car, same power, same everything. And I average about 57 to the gallons out of my CRV, and they're generally about 10 miles per gallon worse than the Civics because they're a much bigger, taller car. So it gives you some idea of the sort of economy figures you can easily achieve with them. But it's just so flexible, so willing, so keen to go. It ticks every box, and it's been a Honda. They're very, very, very tough and reliable. Engine then feeds through into the clutch and gearbox in the car. Clutch in the car is absolutely perfect. Bite point, exactly where it's meant to be, and it's lovely and smooth in operation. The gear change, again, fantastic. It's what Honda do so well, all these primary controls. They want to make sure that, when you put your hand on something, touch something, it should feel satisfying, it should feel mechanical, it should feel well engineered. Because the issue with gearboxes now on most cars is the fact that they are cable operated, so the cable goes to the gearbox. And that can mean some cars can have, sort of really vague, lifeless gear changes, whereas this feels incredibly mechanical, nice and weighty, just joyful to use, and it feels exactly like it would have done when it was new. Come to the steering. This chassis and the steering and the whole dynamics of the car are one of the main strengths of this vehicle. Steering is the first thing you notice. It's quick, it's direct, it's incredibly accurate, very precise. You turn in with minimal movements, but the chassis can cope with that very well indeed. It's nicely weighted, so it doesn't feel overly light and devoid of feel, and it makes the car feel really solid on the road. Some cars can just make you feel a bit kind of lightweight in the hand. They can be okay, but just this is pretty much the perfect setup for this type of car. So go through corners like that, so literally hardly have to turn the wheel at all. But what's lovely is the fact that the steering of the car doesn't upset the chassis in any way. Incidentally, there's no vibrations to the steering at this speed or any speed up to the legal limit, so all is very, very good there indeed. I'll wait to get around the corner because I always have a habit of trying to check it straightens up there, so basically just pulls absolutely straight and true as well. Chassis of the vehicle is just brilliant. It really is. It rides very comfortably. It's very, very well judged. Its damping's really good. It doesn't allow for huge body roll angles, which is, because comfort is a very subjective thing. It's not just about dealing with little bumps. It's about, how you go through corners. Do you get lots of motion going on? And you don't with the Civics. But this road here, which is horrible, it's got, a really pitted, potted surface. But at the same time, this rides it far better than most cars of their type. And I'm also, by the way, listening out for any kind of rattling or clonking from the suspension that shouldn't be there. There's nothing at all. As I said, it is very, very tight indeed. But when you put it through the corners, it absolutely flows beautifully. It really does. It's a really enjoyable car to drive, which happens to be comfortable as well. Is the best way to describe it, and which is why they're so popular. Being the SR model, you actually get adjustable rear suspension on this car. You've got a button that changes the rear suspension hardness or softness, whichever you want to look at it. Currently, because I'm old and I ache, generally speaking, a little button down here, I'm in C for comfort. If I press it there, I'm now in dynamic, and I can feel it definitely much firmer. And then press it again, and I'm in a normal mode, which is kind of a halfway between the two, which is what most people tend to leave it in. As I said, I prefer comfort mode. I'm not worried about losing a little bit of, sort of pitch to the corners. It just means that sort of on our roads around here, which can be pretty potholed, it rides them sort of that much better. But it's a nice feature to have, and it works very well, unlike some which seem to do absolutely nothing at all. Brakes are really good on the car. Nice solid brake pedal on the vehicle. No kind of pulsing or vibrations. Which is the main thing I'm looking for on them as well, obviously, but all very, very good indeed. Coming to the interior, It's a lovely sunny day. Unfortunately, that also means it can get a bit glary in here, so I do apologise. But the first thing you noticed, this is an estate car, which can often mean with certain manufacturers, I'm not going to name them, that they can end up being kind of rattle boxes inside. There's no squeaks, no rattles. It is beautifully put together. And in my eyes, at least, because it is subjective, I adore this interior, which not everybody does. It polarises opinion brilliantly, because I think that's always a sign of a good design, because it forms opinion, and people have you're not going to get it and think, well, I don't really know. You're either going to like it or you're not. But what I love is, I think it looks brilliant, but it also works brilliantly, ergonomically. The most conventional part, the centre stack here, so you've got sat-nav all working perfectly, dual zone climate control system to give you different temperatures side to side on the car, again pumping out absolutely ice cold air, heated seats, again working exactly as they should. The buttons and switch gear that you press and touch is really satisfying to use. It's very high quality. It's got that lovely actuation that Honda give you where you just touch it, and it's just really kind of damped, beautifully sort of done, very tactile. But the best bit, because it works brilliantly, is this two-tier design in front. So the upper deck, you've got the information you can look at most readily or most commonly. So radio displays and fans and fan speeds and direction of air, it's all down here, but a bigger display comes up whenever you press the button there. It comes up on the big screen up there, so you're not taking your eyes off the road. But the one you most obviously look at most of the time is your speed, and there it is all by itself, clearly displayed. Genius, absolute genius. I'm looking at the car's air in front, by the corner of my eyes I can clearly see the speed I'm doing without having to sort of look down for that little bit longer, which can be very, very costly indeed, obviously. Down below that are more conventional pod of dials. You've got your rev counter in the middle, flanked by fuel gauge and temperature gauge. Temperature gauge running at a third, which is exactly where it's meant to be on a Honda car. And then you've got this lovely thick-rimmed leather steering wheel. It feels absolutely fantastic in hand, and like the rest of the interior, it's amazing condition. We've not cleaned it yet. It's literally just come in. It hardly needs a clean, but it's going to get a clean. But it has been kept absolutely beautifully, and the car drives faultlessly. Cannot fault it in any way, shape or form. And we've sold thousands of Hondas and loads, thousands of Civics actually. So we know these cars well, so if there's something sort of amiss, it would sort of show up very, very quickly indeed. But there is nothing at all. It's absolutely exactly as it should be. As always, though, if you've got any questions, don't hesitate, do give us a call.